Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today's topic that we're going to discuss about, that is looping. As we know, this is a very crucial in terms of a programming. Now, in the loop, what is first of all, what we understood, what is a loop first of all? Anybody have idea about what is loop? Yes, if you people have the idea, let it be describe you in a very simple form. Loop is something which is you going to repeat in the same statement, you're going to repeat again and again. So if that kind of a thing, let's suppose in the sequential programming, I wanted to write the name, for example, A, B, C, any certain name, I wanted to write this program 100 times. That means I need to write again and again ABC 100 times. Oh my God, that will take long time. It means that you 100 lines that you're going to write for this one to print this ABC. But avoiding that hectic, you have to use a loop. That loop, one statement, whatever the loop you are using it, if you use that loop, what happened? Your 100 lines will be removed and only one line that makes you to write down, and then automatically this ABC will be printed 100 times. In simpler form, in easy form, it means that a repetition, you can handle the number of repetitions in that particular loop. Looping structure, there are two types, a definite loop and indefinite loop. And if we talk about the definite loop, that comes under that for loop. For loop is what kind of the for loop it is. It is a kind of loop which basically the user, the programmer, it know that number of iterations, how many times the user or a programmer will repeat itself the statement. It means that if I wanted to repeat the statement 10 times, in this loop, I would already earlier know that how many times I'm going to repeat. The user or the programmer, it know the number of repetitions before it's going to repeat and utilize that for loop. In other way, in the indefinite loop, the user does not have the idea that how many times it's going to repeat. It based on your conditions. If I'm going to use that condition, it will work on a while loop and a do while loop. So type of loop, after understanding type of loop, the simple definition, for loop executes one or more statements for a specified number of times. And this loop is also called a counter loop, control loop. It is the most flexible loop. So for loop. So by considering some of the syntax, I could say that in the syntax, you have to remember three steps. Number one, first your for, and then bracket, and then there are three stages that you have to remember. One is called initialization. Whatever the variable you are using, you have to initialize. It means that you have to assign some value. Condition, it's going to evaluate. It's based if the condition is true or false. On the basis it's going to execute the next statement. Here we have to use the operator, which is increment or decrement operator. These brackets will show and that statements are there if these loop will repeat itself. So that's the basic syntax of the for loop. I'll take you to the one of a best example. Look, I'm going to, for example, write a program to print 100 natural numbers. So what I supposed to do, how to write this program, I'll show you in a simple basic steps. So that's a flow chart and algorithm, and this is a simple program. So I'll take you straight away to the program. So in this easy method, first of all, of course, for any C program, if you going to use input and output functions, you have to declare the header file. You have to add that header file. That header file is called stdio.h. You have to use that reserved words hash include and stdio.h in that particular format. You need always to follow certain syntax method. If you're going to use another type of method, it will produce syntax error. I will describe you type of error later on, but at least you have to understand this pattern you need to follow. Similarly, include conio.h. This is one of another header file which will definitely you want to use some of the functions. For example, if you wanted to use getch function, you have to use that conio function, conio.h header file. That is important. How we utilize that one, what would be the effective, that we'll discuss in the later stage, but at least here you can understand. This is a function which not going to receive any value or not we going to pass any value. We have this main function, which is a simple, very straightforward. At least one function we have to use in that programming. That is a main function. In the C, it's a general one, and then brackets start. And here I have used the data type integer. That's a number data type. It's in C. That is simple. We call int. It occupy 2 bytes into the memory. Here I declared a variable. That is a variable. It's going to create a basically 2 bytes is going to occupy into the memory. So once I declare this data type, it means that variable contain 2 bytes into the memory. Now what? That I use clr function, which is going to be called from another header files stdlib. Here it's normally we use different IDE we are using, but here and normally we are nowadays we are using the one integrated development environment, that is a Dave C, which is more compatible. If you're going to use this function, we used to use stdlib.head.h file. Now what? Now look at this integer. Once I declared this variable and this statement for x is equal to 1, I initialize this one. Then x less than equals to 100. If now the value being moved to the 1, x is equivalent to 1. Now here 1 less than equals to 100. Is condition true or false? So it seems like condition is true. 1 less than equals to 100. So it means that condition is true. If condition is true, what? It directly moves to this part and will check %D. This is a format specifier. The particular number will be printed over here. It means that number 1 will be printed over here. Because of this one, I have used the variable as well. That format specifier is being used for the number, and that number will be displayed at the same time. So number 1, okay, and then it will go again into the loop because still the loop is still on. We haven't the loop been broke up. The reason why the loop is not been encountered, that because of the condition is still remain true. Now it's been increased. 1 plus 1 is going to be increase the value. 1 plus 1 is going to 2. So x value is 2 now. 2 less than equals to 100. Condition is true. Then go back to the loop. It's again to be printed 2, 1 and 2, and then similarly it will increase the value 1 again into the increment loop. 2 plus 1, it's going to be 3, and then back to the printing area. It's print another one, 3. Similarly it will keep increasing until the condition, let's assume it will, the value is now 100 is of value of variable of x. So 100 less than is equals to 100 is still condition is true. So what happened? It will be printed till 100 over here. Now what? If the condition will true will over here 100 plus 1, then in that case what happened? The variable of that particular value of that variable is becomes 101. 101 less than equals to, then what happened? 101 less than equals to 100, that condition becomes false. Once the condition is false, it's going to be terminated. Simple as that. In that case, what we have understood, that loop, that particular loop will be executed at certain stages, certain times. That will be keep repeating itself until the condition remains false. So I hope that this is what the basic formula of the for loop. Inshallah, on the next day, we'll be learning do while loop and a while loop, that the remaining part of the loop. Thank you very much.